Good. Good.
Rick, I went to the vest just in honor of you.
I see that you bought it.
But this is bulletproof.
Yeah.
Rick, just talk a little bit about Florida, what you see out of them and how they're playing.
You know, I think Florida is playing right now their last 5 games exactly the way I think people thought they would be at the start of the season. When you go back over their last 5 games, their numbers are very impressive. They're playing really good basketball. Mike's got to be pleased with them. I think he has guys playing the roles that he wants them to play. He's getting the depth that he needs, and arguably, you know, playing as well as anybody.
Their talent level is pretty good, isn't it?
Oh, obviously they're, you know, at this level you've got to have good talent if you're winning, and or even be at this level. But Mike's done a good job with this team. Again, like I said, I think right now they're playing the way he wants them to play, and what I think everyone probably expected them to be from the beginning. But this is the time of year you want to be playing your best, and he's got them playing that way.
Offensively, or they may be as balanced inside out as anybody in the league.
They do. They've got great balance. You know, they've been put the shooters on at every spot there they want to, and they do a nice job of executing the different things that they run and drive. They got guys that can drive the ball, put fouls on you, and so yeah, they're playing. They really are. They're playing very well, and they're great balance in what they're trying to do with their schemes.
After a couple games on the road, Coach, how much are the guys looking forward to being back home Saturday?
Well, I think you always, you know, want to be at home. I think everybody would like that, but it doesn't. Just being at home doesn't guarantee anything unless you're willing to get better. Look at what you do, and you got to make it happen yourself. I mean, we just talked about a team that's playing as well as anybody, and we've got to have a much better performance here, obviously tomorrow, than we did at Arkansas.
Coach, now that Arkansas was seeing Santiago for the second time, are you seeing people defend him differently than as you get deeper into the season?
No, I think different people defend him different ways. You know, people have started, you know, trying to shade him, right? I mean, he from the time that he's gotten here, he's gone where I don't think there's any question people were really trying to climb into him, and he handled it. You know, he would get by him because he's a little more deceptive than you think. And Arkansas made up their mind that they wanted him to do everything to the left, which we thought that, so we had some things in place that we knew we were going to let the ball get out of his hand and then try to bring it back to him, things like that. But I do think that he has seen a lot of different things. I think people are concerned about him, his shot. Obviously, we know he can shoot the ball, but you know, honestly, I think he's just as comfortable playing without the ball in his hand, and I like that versatility with him, where he doesn't have to. We don't have to rely on him just to get it up and get started, where he can give it up and get it back.
Their freshman Quez from Bearden. What have you seen from him? What has he brought to them as a freshman?
I think Quez has done a good job for him. You know, that was a guy that they picked up late, and again, I think that he's in their rotation, so I'm sure they feel good about it, what he's done, and I'm happy for him. Great kid, and I think he's done a good job for him.
Is there any talk about him and Drew obviously playing against each other for the first time since high school?
Well, it depends. You know, I haven't looked at our injury report yet. Drew's under, that concussion protocol, and I haven't heard, like I said, I haven't looked today. We didn't go on the floor yesterday, so I don't know if I know what to say to that until the game.
Let's talk a little bit about what you're seeing out of Jordan lately and how consistent he's been on the offensive end.
Well, we always believe that sooner or later he had to snap out of it. I mean, Tom Zakoviak told me today, he's in the top, he's 25th in all-time leading scorers here. I mean, it tells you the kind of career he's had. And when you've had a guy and you've been with him for 4 years and you see him over those times have those, and he went through some times through past years where he struggled, like all guys, all shooters do it at some point in time. But the fact that he's continued to, and I've said it many times, he plays really hard on defense. He really tries to do his job. He understands what we're trying to get done. And you just feel that sooner or later he's going to make some shots. And I do think this, that anybody that plays against us looks at his numbers. They all know that he's much better than the numbers. And we certainly believe like that. And we just hope that he has a strong finish right now.
When you watched that game again, what did you see from Josiah that you want to see him work on or change?
I think more than anything, a mindset of understanding we need another scorer out there too. We need to understand. He needs to do that. And defensively, he can impact the game. He's had games when he's been at his best. It's been from the defensive end and his rebounding. And you know, you look at him, I think percentage-wise, he's our best three-point shooter. And so when he's open, we do want him to shoot it.
Does he just need to be more aggressive?
Yeah, I think he does. I don't think there's any question. He's got to be more aggressive, and I think he will. I do. I think that we'll see that out of him, and that doesn't mean shooting the ball. That doesn't mean doing anything over the top. Just being consistently aggressive in a lot of different areas of the game.
You cleaned it up in the second half at Arkansas, but turnovers were a big problem early. They were at Auburn. Just where you see a common theme from where they're coming from?
Yeah, you know, like again, Santiago had two of them, and one of them, he had two of them that weren't his. I mean, he threw a pass to the corner where Jordan Bowden shifted up, which he shouldn't have. I mean, when we have a baseline drive, we got to have that corner field, and Jordan was there, and White jumped up. And Santi actually made a great pass, but that's a turnover that goes against him. But you know, it goes back to execution, Rob. We'll just execute and just come down the floor each time with a purpose, and that's the common theme. When we're playing together and we know what we're looking for, that's when we're really a pretty good team. We really are. But when guys come down and we get in the flow and guys aren't thinking the way that we should be thinking this time of year, that's when the turnovers normally happen.
You think fatigue goes into that for the guys that have played the bulk of the minutes?
I think when I think of fatigue, the two guys I would put that on more than anybody would be Fulke and Eve, because of they're in there pounding. You know, they're like offensive linemen that are not trying to only clear the hole, then you're handing the ball off to them. You know, and that's what's going on in there. That's pretty tough to do, but they're doing it. And so those guys, we really watch Fulke as much as anybody, and Eve obviously, you know, is a very strong. I mean, he's turned in some yeoman workloads, man. What he does, but do I think it affects? I think it affects those two guys, and I think Santi a little bit, especially a couple weeks ago when he was really trying to get in shape. But he's gotten better because he's got in better condition.
LSU's coach said that they've gone against Keontae Johnson like 4 times and they haven't had an answer for him. How good is Johnson?
He's really good. He's impressive. You know, he's a terrific driver. He's skilled. You know, he's a skilled player that can, you know, hurt you in a lot of different areas. You know, a year ago we loved him. A year ago we talked about how much we thought that he would improve, and I think you got to give Mike and his staff a lot of credit for his improvement from a year ago. I mean, he's over his last 5 games, he's averaging almost 18 points and I think 9 rebounds. So right now, there's not a better player in our league when you look at the numbers and what he's done over their last 5 games. But he's a very determined driver, and he can shoot the ball, so he can hurt you in a lot of different levels.
Greg, how important do you think it is for a young team to reach the postseason and get those extra games, even if it happens to be the NIT?
I think playing is important all the time. I think you always want to play as long as you want to play. I think that's important. But right now, you know, we've got to, again, worry about tomorrow. But yeah, I think anytime you can get in to continue to play, especially with young team, it's like a team in football that gets to go to a bowl game. Those extra practices, and even though we're still able to work with our guys, there's nothing like, you know, actual competition playing against other people.
The challenges of having to have a team mesh mid-season like you all have, with the addition of Erosh and Santi and everybody. You talked a lot about it, but have you ever faced anything as a coach like that in your career? Like, is it comparable to anything you've faced before?
Not really. What we went through this year with this group, I haven't. There's been a lot of, I've been doing it a long time, but some of the way things have developed, no. With the way you plan your off season, I mean, you know, there's going to be some things that can pop up that you're trying to be prepared for, but the way all the things, I've used the term starting over. You know, we feel like we had to do that a lot, not only right after the non-league season with Santi getting here and trying to do things with him, but it's tough. But that's why I really admire these guys. I think they haven't hung their head. Now and the thing about it is, we know we're developing some of these guys. You still don't lose the will to win. You want to win, and so that's why there's sometimes after games where I've questioned where I should have maybe allowed Erosh or Olivier to play more. But it's hard to play through mistakes in February when you're trying to win, because and it goes back to the fatigue question. And we've had some guys that we've had to stick with because we've been in so many close games with chances to win. And coaches, I think, are like anybody. When when you get through with the game, you go back and you play the what if game and all that. And but it's again, I haven't, to answer your question. Some things happened this year I haven't dealt with in the past, but it goes back to where I'm really proud of the way these guys have hung in there.
What kind of impact do you think Kerry Black Shields had on the field?
I think he's had a good impact. You look at his numbers; he's done some good things. He really has. And again, I think right now they have found themselves, and he's found his role and how they want to use him. And so again, I think he's done a good job. I think again, Mike's done a really good job with this team.